So here's Marjorie Taylor Greene at it again. Let's watch.
You have to accept the fact that the government totally wants to provide surveillance on every part of your life. They want to know when you're eating. They want to know if you're eating a cheeseburger, which is very bad because Bill Gates wants you to eat his fake meat that grows in a Peachtree dish. So you'll probably get a little zap inside your body and that's saying, no, don't eat a real cheeseburger. You need to eat the fake burger, the fake meat from Bill Gates. They probably also want to know when you go to the bathroom and if your bowel movements are on time or consistent. I mean, what else do these people want to know?
Is someone in the background laughing?
If your bowel movements are on time or consistent. I mean, what else do these people want to...
Someone in the background. I don't know if that's like someone recording the video and then laughing at her, or if that's someone in the studio she's in. I don't know. Okay, so first of all, there's a lot to dissect here. Okay? So first of all, Bill Gates is making fake meat. Wrong. I mean, Bill Gates might, like, you know, he might have funded some companies that work in making meat substitutes. But the idea that Bill Gates is like, okay, so there's so many layers to this. All right. So we're going to get like a microchip device planted in us. And every time we eat meat, it zaps. Now, I just want to say, I support that. As a vegetarian, I support that. I'm 100% in support of zapping people that eat meat. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest with you. And so, I agree with that position. But it's obviously Looney Tunes to say that anyone would ever actually do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's Looney Tunes to suggest not only, like, that's not like a Black Mirror episode, you know? It's Looney Tunes to suggest that that would happen anytime soon. Like, maybe like 30 years from now, if we're lucky. If we're lucky, we'll have devices to ban people from eating meat. I would support that. But let's talk about the bowel movements, because this is a subject I like to talk about on my show a lot. Bowel movements.
Fake meat from Bill Gates. They probably also want to know when you go to the bathroom and if your bowel movements are on time or consistent. I mean, what else do these people want to know?
So, okay, bowel movements. You know, I feel one brewing up right now after that one chip challenge. You know, just saying. I feel a bowel movement coming on. But anyway, bowel movements, it really is important to have a regular bowel movement. Because, you know, again, when you eat meat, what it does is it often will constipate you. I don't know if you know this. Meat has no fiber in it. And lack of fiber leads to constipation. And so, you know, if you eat nothing but meat, your bowels are going to get fucked up. But then also, like, you know, constipation leads to a lot of other issues. Me personally, I shit 2 to 3 times a day. That's my schedule. I'm usually a 2-a-day shitter. Every once in a while, if I eat some spicy food. Today is probably going to be a 3-a-day shit. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Though I haven't shit yet today, so I might, you know, it might get backed up a little bit. But again, having a healthy bowel schedule. Now, again, a lot of people, like, okay, I'm going to tell a story. When I was young, I had a lot of health problems. Because my parents fed me fast food every day because I lived with my single mother. And when I would go visit my father, you know, it would be like, oh, I don't know how to cook, you know. I'm a guy, right, that was born in, like, you know, the 20th century, so I have no idea how to cook, right? So he would buy me fast food all the time. When I was young, I would almost eat, like, 5-6 days a week, I would eat fast food. And so that led to me having a lot of health problems. One of them was, you know, consistent constipation issues. I would usually, you know, when I was young, shit like once every 3 to 4 days. And, you know, it was very painful. I had some surgeries and I took a lot of medicines, and none of them did anything because no amount of medicine, no amount of, you know, staying home from school, no amount of, you know, surgeries fixed the fact that my mom would buy me fast food every day, right? And it's insane to me, like, thinking back, right? And, like, what were these doctors thinking? Like, these doctors, they're, like, every doctor I went to when I was young, why didn't any of them just say, hey, have you tried feeding your child vegetables? Like, I don't know. Because I had the same issue, basically, until I was about 20 years old. And then I decided to lose a lot of weight. And that temporarily fixed a lot of my problems. I'm crying from this one chip challenge still, by the way. And then, you know, I kind of had a rebound episode. I'm just talking about my diet history. I had a little bit of a rebound episode until a couple years later. And then a couple years later, I really started to focus on healthy eating, nutrition. I read a lot of books on nutrition. I read, you know, a lot on fiber and how healthy fiber is. And I'm going to be honest, I've been eating a lot of fiber for the last couple of years. And I went from like a once every 3 or 4 day shit to 2 to 3 times a day shit. And it's not painful. You know, I might say, though, after this one, it might be a little painful. We'll see. I'll brace for impact. And so, I just want to say, like, yeah, when you eat nothing but meat, you're going to have some shit fuck problems. You know, at least add some vegetables to it. You know, at least, like, you know, I don't know. With this idea, like, we also need to talk about why they're so afraid of meat substitutes on the right. And there's a lot of so-called left-wingers that are afraid of meat substitutes, too. I mean, they're addicts. They're addicts. Like, let's be real. Let's be honest about this. Meat eaters are addicts. They have addiction issues. They are addicted to drugs. They are drug addicts. It's that simple. And their drug is food. They are food addicts. And their specific food that they are addicted to is extremely unhealthy, both for them and for the environment. Again, it results in a holocaust of animals. You know, can you really say that mass murder is a bad thing? Like, oh, we're talking about these school shootings. We're talking about that. Can you really say that that's a bad thing? Meanwhile, you support factory farming? I'm just saying, right? We have a human-centric view of the world. And I personally would put humans on the top of my priority list. But that doesn't mean that I want to kill every other non-human on Earth, right? Like, so, anyway, you know, it's a conversation that a lot of people are afraid of having. The right specifically. They are drug addicts. They are, for all intents and purposes, drug addicts, and their drug of choice is meat. And there's side effects when you are addicted to any drug. If you eat, like, you know, if you eat sugar all the time, you will have side effects, aka diabetes, right? America loves sugary products. Right? And meat is no different. There's some vegetables that if you eat a lot of one kind of vegetable, you know, it might fuck you up a little bit. Why? Because humans, our bodies are designed to eat a large variety of foods, have diversity of nutrition, right? And we live in a society that mass produces things like corn, right? And corn and soy. Did you know 80% of soy that's produced in this country goes to livestock? I don't know if it's this country or worldwide. Goes to livestock, by the way. So people that go like, oh, soy is so bad for you. Every time you eat a steak, you're eating soy, motherfucker. Fuck you. Anyway, right? And it's like, if you eat the same thing every day, it's going to have negative health effects. And so when you eat meat every day, you're going to have negative health effects. And also, you know what? It would be nice if people talked about bowel movements as a culture. We all shit. Everyone shits. It's true. It's true. In fact, I will probably take a shit as soon as the stream is over. So we all shit, and yet no one wants to talk about it? Right? And then it's like, okay, so no one wants to talk about shitting, and no one wants to talk about how our society and culture is addicted to really unhealthy food. What is it? That leads to this. That leads to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Right? Our education system in this country is garbage. And it leads to, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene's out there thinking, it's my God-given right to mass murder animals for my entertainment. It's your God-given right? Why did God give you that right? And did God give me the right to commit a mass shooting? Like, because think about it. Objectively speaking, right? Hey, I'm not trying to be one of those weirdos who's like animal rights are more important than human rights. I personally think human rights are more important than animal rights, and that's because I'm a human. But I'm acknowledging my bias, right? I'm aware of that bias, and that bias, like, again, I don't want to support factory farming, billions and billions of animals that are being mass murdered, bred to slaughter. Like, I don't support that, and so I don't eat meat. It's that simple, right? But, like, meat eaters, how do you reconcile the fact that you eat meat and yet you're apparently upset about a mass shooting? Why? You're upset about war and yet you eat meat? You're upset about slavery and yet you eat meat? I'm just saying, food for thought. I'm not trying to make any definitive declarative statements. I think a lot of vegans that, like, do this whole, like, oh, you're evil if you eat meat thing, I think that that's a little overblown and that's not going to get anyone on your side. I'm just saying, think about it. I'm just saying, like, just give it a thunk. That's all I'm saying. Just think about it. Because ultimately, it really boils down to the fact that you value human life above everything else. But guess what? Guess what? Everything else, we're part of an ecosystem, right? We're looking at a mass destruction of the universe here, or, you know, the Earth. The universe will be fine. Mass destruction of ecosystems. We're living through a great extinction on par with the extinction that caused all the dinosaurs to die. A meteor crashing into the planet and killing almost everything on Earth. We are going through that right now. It's just, instead of a meteor crashing into the planet and killing everything instantly, it's taking place over a couple hundred years. So I'm just saying, also, how much land is wasted on livestock? Think about it. We have homeless people on this world that don't have any room for shelter. We have refugee crises all across the world. And yet, we've got golf courses. Yet, we've got giant farms of livestock. It's insane. It's insane. So I'm just saying, people need to think about their meat consumption. We're at a point right now in society where there's going to have to be a change, and you're not going to be able to get your drugs. Think about the drug addicts that got addicted to stuff like cocaine 20 years ago, and then they die of fentanyl poisoning. It's unfortunate, right? The world is changing, and people cannot keep up with their addictions in the same way that they used to. So, meat is horrible, ethically, morally, but then factually. Like, for us, the consumption of meat on the grand scale hurts all of us. It produces homelessness. It produces a massive acceleration of climate change. Right? It produces significant amounts of heart disease, other diseases, cancers. So even if you don't care about the morality of mass slaughtering billions of animals for fun and entertainment, reminder, pigs are smarter than dogs. Can you blame people in China for eating dogs? I mean, they're dumber than pigs. People go like, oh, the Chinese are so evil, they eat dogs. And you eat pigs, motherfucker. Pigs are way smarter than dogs, let's be honest, right? So even if you don't give a shit about the morality and ethics of it, and I don't mind if you don't, that to me is the least valuable argument, because I also agree that humans are more important. I'm a human. I personally am more interested in my life and the life of my fellow humans than I am of any other animal, other than my dog Max. But that doesn't mean that I support, again, because the meat industry is killing all of us, whether or not you realize it, whether or not it's killing you when it comes to your, like, getting heart disease. It's killing you in the terms of your planet being destroyed. It's killing you in all these other ways, right? Mismanagement, misuse of resources. global hunger. There are people starving right now. And yet we're giving almost all of our good food to cows so that they can get plumped up so that rich people can eat them and poor people can eat heavily subsidized versions of them. So I'm just saying, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the quintessential example of the average American that is so obsessed with their own personal freedom and liberty that they're willing to commit a slow suicide if it means avoiding any accountability for their life choices. Now, again, am I saying everyone with addictions are bad people? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying eating meat makes you a bad person? No, I'm not saying that. I think people that go in that direction, I've seen a lot of vegans that go like, all meat eaters are literally neo-Nazis. It's true. I mean, it's factually true. You got to give a hand to the vegans that do that. That is factually correct. They are 1000% factually correct. That being said, I'm about results. And I know telling a meat eater that they're basically Adolf Hitler doesn't get them to change their opinion, right? So I'm aware of that. And so that's why my position is like, even if you don't care about the morality, shouldn't you care about yourself? Shouldn't you care about your own health? A future for your children? Huh? Anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the quintessential American. But how many people out there, if you take away the zapping bullshit, like the weird microchip device that zaps you, right? How many people that would consider themselves leftists would hear this and go like, that's right, I love my meat. I'll never eat soy. I'll never eat that fake meat. Hey, I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. Something's got to give. So anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene, there you go. I didn't know that she was going to talk about bowel movements. I did not intend on this segment being so long.